The ultrasound screen flickered with the ghostly outline of new life growing inside me. But all I could think about was the 6-year-old girl trembling in my mother's house, clutching a worn rabbit and believing she would be thrown away like garbage when my real baby arrived. I should have known something was terribly wrong when Lily met us at the front door that day, her small backpack already strapped to her shoulders and her eyes red from crying. She stood there like a condemned prisoner awaiting execution, unable to meet my gaze. The silence in my parents' living room felt suffocating, thick with an unspoken cruelty that made my skin crawl. Oh, the sweet little thing has been so well behaved, my mother Eleanor said with that fake smile I'd grown to despise over the years. Rachel and Chloe have taught her so many wonderful things while she's been staying here. My sister Rachel smirked from her position on the couch, her eyes gleaming with barely concealed malice. She's finally learning her place, and where she truly belongs. The way she emphasized those last words sent ice through my veins. Lily's tiny hand slipped into mine, and she whispered so quietly I almost missed it. "Mommy, do I have to go back there? I promise I'll be good. I promise I won't take up space anymore." The words hit me like a physical blow. Won't take up space anymore. What kind of monster tells a 6-year-old child that they're taking up space in the world? Michael's knuckles were white as he gripped the steering wheel during our drive home. Neither of us spoke for the first 10 minutes, both trying to process what we'd just witnessed. Finally, Lily's small voice broke the silence from the back seat. "Aunt Rachel said I'm not really your daughter because I didn't come from your tummy like the new baby will," she said matter-of-factly, as if discussing the weather. "She said when you have a real baby, you won't want me anymore and I'll have to go back to the place with all the other kids nobody wants." I twisted in my seat to look at her, my heart shattering at the resignation in her voice. "Lily, sweetheart, that's not true. You are my real daughter, and nothing will ever change that." But she continued, the floodgates now open. "Chloe said her mommy told her that adopted kids are just practice kids until parents can have their own. And Grandma, Eleanor said I should be grateful for any scraps of love I get because beggars can't be choosers." She paused, picking at the torn ear of her stuffed rabbit. "They made me eat my dinner in the kitchen while everyone else ate in the dining room. They said the dining room was for family only." Michael pulled over to the side of the road, so abruptly that I lurched forward. His breathing was ragged, and I could see the vein in his temple throbbing. "They did what?" he managed to say through gritted teeth. "Rachel told me I was lucky you kept me this long. But now that you're having a real baby, I need to start preparing myself to go back where I came from. She said I should pack light because foster families don't usually let kids bring much." Lily's voice remained eerily calm, as if she'd practiced these words, rehearsed her own abandonment. The rage that consumed me in that moment was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It wasn't just anger. It was a primal, protective fury that seemed to originate from somewhere deep in my bones. These people had spent 3 weeks systematically destroying a child's sense of worth and belonging. My child. And my own parents had not only allowed it but participated in it. That night, after tucking Lily into bed and reassuring her over and over that she was safe and loved and permanent, I stood in front of our bathroom mirror and made a decision that would change everything. The woman staring back at me was done being accommodating. Done being the family peacekeeper. Done sacrificing her child's well-being for the sake of maintaining toxic relationships. "What are you thinking?" Michael asked, appearing behind me in the mirror. "I'm thinking they want Lily to make space for our real child," I said, my voice eerily calm. "Well, they're about to get more space than they ever bargained for." I picked up my phone and began systematically deleting contacts. Eleanor, Richard, Rachel, David, My finger hovered over each name for only a second before I pressed delete. Then I blocked them on every social media platform I could think of. The finality of each blocked contact felt like lifting a weight from my chest. Next, I opened our family group chat and typed out a message that I'd been composing in my head for years. Effective immediately, my family will have no contact with Eleanor, Richard, Rachel, or David. This decision is final and is based on their treatment of my daughter. Further explanation will be provided to those who need it. Michael read over my shoulder. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. The response was swift and predictably dramatic. My phone began buzzing incessantly with calls I refused to answer and text messages I deleted without reading. But I also received unexpected support from cousins and family friends who had apparently witnessed my family's toxic behavior for years and were relieved someone was finally calling it out. 2 weeks later, I decided to host a small gathering to celebrate my pregnancy. Not a baby shower, just an intimate get-together with friends and the few family members who had always shown genuine love and support for both Lily and me. I wanted Lily to see what a healthy, loving family dynamic looked like. I wanted her to experience being celebrated and included, not merely tolerated. The party was perfect. Lily helped me hang decorations and arrange flowers, her confidence slowly returning as she realized she wasn't going anywhere. Friends brought gifts for both the coming baby and for Lily as the proud big sister-to-be. For the first time in months, I saw her genuinely smile. That's when they arrived. I was in the kitchen refilling the punch bowl when I heard Eleanor's voice booming through my living room. Well, I never thought I'd see the day when my own daughter would throw a party and not invite her own parents. Entire room fell silent. I set down the punch bowl and walked slowly into the living room, where Eleanor, Richard, Rachel, and David stood like invading army generals surveying conquered territory. You weren't invited because you're not welcome here, I said clearly, making sure every guest could hear me. This is a celebration of love and family, and your behavior toward my daughter disqualifies you from both categories. Rachel laughed. That same cruel sound that had haunted my childhood. Oh, here we go with the dramatics again. God, Julia, you always were such a bleeding heart. The kid needs to learn about real life eventually. Real life? I repeated, stepping closer to her. You mean the real life, where a grown woman terrorizes a 6-year-old child, where adults tell a little girl she's disposable, that real life. She's not blood, Rachel said with a shrug, as if that explained and justified everything. When you have your own baby, you'll understand the difference. That's when I felt it. The last thread of familial obligation, the final strand of hope that these people might change, snapped cleanly in two. The difference, I said, my voice carrying across the suddenly silent room, is that my daughter will grow up knowing she's unconditionally loved, while your daughter is learning to be a bully from watching her mother. I turned to address my parents directly. And you two stood by and watched a child be emotionally abused in your house. You participated in it. You're all banned from this house, banned from our lives, and banned from having any contact with either of my children. You can't do this, Eleanor spluttered. We're your family. No, I said firmly. Family doesn't destroy children for sport. Family doesn't teach love through cruelty. You had your chance to be family, and you chose to be predators instead. Michael appeared at my side, and I could feel the tension radiating from him. I think you all need to leave. Now. You can't tell us what to do. Richard started, but Michael cut him off. Actually, I can. This is our house, and you're trespassing. Leave voluntarily, or I'll call the police and have you removed. Rachel's face twisted with rage. You'll regret this, Julia. When that baby comes and you realize what real love feels like, you'll remember this moment and know you chose wrong. I already know what real love feels like, I replied. It's what I feel for both of my children. It's what you'll never understand. After they left, my guests rallied around us with overwhelming support. Several people apologized for my family's behavior, as if I were responsible for their actions. Others shared stories of their own toxic family members and praised my courage in setting boundaries. Most importantly, Lily emerged from where she'd been hiding behind the couch and wrapped her arms around my legs. Are they really not coming back? She asked hopefully. Never, I promised her. This is our family now, and no one gets to hurt you anymore. The aftermath was predictably messy. Eleanor and Rachel launched a campaign to turn extended family and mutual friends against me, painting me as an ungrateful daughter who had abandoned my family for a stranger's child. They spread lies about my mental health, claiming my pregnancy hormones had made me unstable and paranoid. But I had something they didn't expect: the truth. And I wasn't afraid to tell it. I made my own phone calls, calmly explaining the situation to anyone who asked. I didn't embellish or dramatize. I simply recounted exactly what had been said and done to Lily. Most people were horrified. Many admitted they'd always found Rachel's behavior concerning, but hadn't felt it was their place to intervene. Turning point came when Rachel, feeling cornered by the growing support for my position, made a crucial mistake. She called me one evening, presumably to manipulate me into backing down, not knowing I was recording the conversation. "Julia, you're being ridiculous," she said. "Lily needs to understand reality. When your real baby comes, you won't have time for her anymore anyway." I was just preparing her for the inevitable. The inevitable? Oh, come on. You know you're going to love your biological child more. Everyone does. It's natural. Lily will just be in the way, taking attention from your real child. I was trying to help her accept that gracefully. Help her accept being discarded. Help her accept her place in the world. She's lucky she got as much as she did. Most orphans don't get families at all. I saved that recording like a treasure. 1 year later, when Adam turned 1, I threw the biggest birthday party our house had ever seen. I invited everyone who had supported us during that difficult time, everyone who had shown genuine love for our family. The house was full of laughter, children playing, and the kind of warmth that only comes from authentic relationships. Lily had blossomed over that year. Her confidence had returned tenfold, and she doted on her baby brother with the fierce protectiveness of a guardian angel. She no longer flinched when people mentioned families or adoption. She knew without doubt that she belonged with us. I was cutting Adam's birthday cake when they appeared again. Eleanor stood in my doorway holding an elaborate gift, flanked by Richard, Rachel, and David. "We've come to celebrate our grandson's birthday," she announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. Blood is thicker than water, after all. The room went quiet, but this time it wasn't from shock. It was from collective disapproval. My friends and chosen family had heard about these people for a year. They knew exactly who was standing in my doorway. I set down the knife and pulled out my phone, connecting it to our Bluetooth speaker. Rachel's voice filled the room. Clear and cruel. "When your real baby comes, you won't have time for her anymore anyway. Lily will just be in the way, taking attention from your real child." Entire recording played while Eleanor's face grew pale and Rachel's eyes widened in panic. When it finished, the silence was deafening. "This," I said, gesturing to Lily and Adam, "is my real family. Complete and whole, with no one left behind." I looked directly at Eleanor. "You wanted blood. Look around. You see the blood that matters, the family we choose, the love we build, the children we protect instead of destroy. One by one, my guests turned their backs on the unwelcome visitors. Several people made pointed comments about child abuse and emotional manipulation. My neighbor, a child psychologist, very loudly discussed the long-term psychological damage of telling children they're unwanted. Michael and two of our friends escorted them out without a word. This time, there was no arguing, no protesting. They left in complete shame and defeat. The party continued as if they'd never come, but I noticed the difference in how people treated Lily afterward. She wasn't just accepted, she was celebrated as a survivor, a little girl who had overcome cruelty and found her true home. That night, after all the guests had gone home and both children were asleep, Michael and I sat on our couch surrounded by birthday wrapping paper and the detritus of a perfect celebration. "Any regrets?" he asked, taking my hand. I looked around our living room, filled with pictures of our family. Lily's artwork on the refrigerator, Adam's toys scattered across the floor, and felt the deep peace that comes from making the right choice. "Only one," I said. "I regret not doing it sooner." The consequences for Eleanor and Rachel were swift and comprehensive. Word of the recording spread through our extended family and social circles like wildfire. Their reputations were permanently damaged. Rachel lost several close friendships and faced social ostracism in her community. Even Chloe began experiencing the fallout at school, as other parents learned about her mother's behavior toward a vulnerable child. Eleanor and Richard found themselves increasingly isolated as family members chose sides and most chose ours. Their golden child, Rachel, was revealed to be the cruel bully many had suspected her to be all along. Meanwhile, our lives flourished. Lily excelled in school, made lasting friendships, and never again questioned her place in our family. Adam grew surrounded by love from both parents and his devoted big sister. Our house became the gathering place for holidays and celebrations, filled with people who understood that family is defined by love, not genetics. 5 years later, as I watch Lily teaching Adam to ride a bicycle in our backyard, I sometimes think about that ultrasound appointment that started everything. I was so worried about bringing a new baby into an imperfect world, so concerned about giving Adam the perfect family. What I didn't understand then was that the perfect family isn't one without conflict or challenges. It's one where every member knows they're safe, valued, and permanent. It's one where children are protected fiercely and loved unconditionally. It's one where adults choose courage over comfort and truth over peace. Rachel was right about one thing. When Adam came, I did understand the difference. The difference between toxic obligation and chosen love. The difference between enabling cruelty and protecting innocence. The difference between blood relations and true family. Heaven's net, they say, is wide-meshed but lets nothing through. I used to think that meant justice would eventually find everyone. Now I know it means something simpler. When you cast off the people who poison your life, you create space for those who nourish it. And in that space, miracles grow. Lily calls me from the yard, her voice bright with excitement as Adam successfully pedals 3 feet without falling. I wave back, my heart full of the kind of happiness that can only come from choosing love over loyalty, truth over tradition, and protection over peace. They wanted space for the real children. They got it. And we got something infinitely more valuable. The knowledge that our family, chosen and fought for and fiercely protected, is unbreakable. Some nets are meant to capture. Others are meant to set free. I chose freedom, and it chose us back. 오해? 이 사진들이 오해니? 은행 거래 내역이 오해니? 한수가 무릎을 꿇었어요. 어머니, 정말 죄송합니다. 저희가 잘못했어요. 잘못했다고? 너희가 한 짓이 그냥 잘못인 줄 알아? 그때 서은이가 제게 다가오더라고요. 예전에 그 상냥한 표정으로 돌아가려고 하면서 어머니, 저희가 정말 어려워서 그랬어요. 한수 오빠가 사업 실패하면서 빚더미에 앉게 되고 저도 어쩔 수 없이 남편 배신하고 사채업자하고 바람 피웠다는 거야? 서운이 얼굴이 일그러지더라고요. 그리고는 갑자기 본색을 드러냈어요. 그래요, 맞아요. 저는 바람 피웠어요. 그게 뭐 어쨌다는 거예요? 한수 오빠는 무능력하고 돈도 못 벌고 빚만 잔뜩 지고 저는 젊은 여자라고요. 이런 생활은 더 이상 못 견디겠어요. 한수가 놀라서 서운이를 바라봤어요. 서운아, 너, 뭐, 놀랐어요? 당신이 얼마나 한심한 남자인지 이제 깨달았어요? 저는 당신 때문에 제 인생을 망칠 수는 없어요. 이 순간, 저는 이 여자의 진짜 모습을 본 거예요. 그동안 얼마나 완벽하게 연기를 했는지, 그래, 내 속마음이 그런 거였구나. 그럼 너희 아버지하고는 어떤 사이였어? 마지막 날 등산로에서 뭔 일이 있었던 거야? 서은이가 순간 말문이 막혔어요. 그리고 한수가 고개를 들고 저를 바라봤어요. 어머니, 그날은 뭐, 말해봐. 한수가 떨리는 목소리로 말하기 시작했어요. 아버지께서 모든 걸 아신다고, 경찰에 신고하시겠다고 서은이를 불러내서 마지막 경고를 하셨어요. 그래서 그 다음에 서은이가 아버지께 각서를 가져갔어요. 재산 포기 각서를 아버지께서 서명해 주시면 모든 걸 정리하고 이혼하겠다고. 그럼 너희 아버지가? 거절하셨어요. 그리고 화를 많이 내셨어요. 그때 갑자기 서은이가 한수를 막았어요. 그만해, 더 이상 말하지 마. 하지만 저는 이미 짐작하고 있었어요. 남편이 마지막에 무슨 일을 당했는지, 너희 아버지가 심장 발작을 일으켰을 때 너희들이 거기 있었던 거지? 서은이가 웃기 시작했어요. 미친 듯이 웃더라고요. 맞아요. 거기 있었어요. 그 고집센 늙은이가 화병으로 쓰러졌을 때 저희가 거기 있었어요. 그런데 어쨌다는 거예요? 저희가 죽인 거 아니에요. 알아서 죽은 거예요. 그럼 왜 도와주지 않았어? 119를 부르지 않았어? 서은이의 웃음이 멈췄어요. 그리고 차갑게 말했어요. 왜 도와줘요? 그 사람이 살아있으면 저희가 다 감옥 가는 거예요. 차라리 잘 됐다고 생각했어요. 그 순간 한수가 서은이를 때렸어요. 야, 너 정말 미쳤구나. 그래도 우리 아버지인데. 서은이가 한수를 째려보며 말했어요. 당신도 마찬가지였잖아요. 그때 119 부르자고 안 했잖아요. 저만 나쁜 사람인 것처럼 하지 마요. 저는 이 모든 걸 듣고 있으면서 너무 충격받아서 말도 못하겠더라고요. 제 아들과 며느리가 남편이 죽어가는 걸 보면서도 도와주지 않았다는 거예요. 그럼 그 립스틱은? 서은이가 빈정거리며 대답했어요. 아, 그거요? 그 늙은이가 마지막에 제 가방을 잡고 늘어지더라고요. 그래서 가방이 엎어지면서 립스틱이 떨어진 거죠. 그걸 그 사람이 주머니에 넣더라고요. 아마 당신한테 증거로 보여주려고 했나 봐요. 남편의 마지막 메시지였던 거예요. 저한테 서은이를 의심하라는. 그날 밤 저는 잠을 한숨도 못 잤어요. 50년을 함께 산 남편이 마지막 순간에 혼자 죽어갔다는 게, 그리고 그걸 제 아들과 며느리가 방치했다는 게 믿어지지 않았어요. 하지만 분노보다는 허망함이 더 컸어요. 그동안 저는 뭘 한 거지? 이런 사람들을 가족이라고 믿고 살아왔던 건가? 며칠 동안 저는 집 밖으로 한 발짝도 나가지 않았어요. 한수와 서은이가 계속 전화했지만 받지 않았어요. 뭘 해야 할지 생각이 정리되지 않았거든요. 그러다가 결심했어요. 이대로 끝낼 수는 없다고. 남편을 위해서라도 정의를 실현해야 한다고. 저는 다시 탐정 민 대표에게 연락했어요. 도와주세요. 복수하고 싶어요. 복수라고 하시면 저 사람들이 죗값을 치르게 하고 싶어요. 법의 심판을 받게 하고 싶어요. 민 대표가 말했어요. 하지만 증거가 부족해요. 심장 발작은 자연사로 처리됐고 그들이 고의로 방치했다는 걸 증명하기 어려워요. 그럼 어떻게 해야 해요? 직접 자백을 받아내는 수밖에 없어요. 녹음이나 녹화를 통해서. 그렇게 해서 저희는 함정을 만들기 시작했어요. 먼저 저는 한수에게 전화했어요. 약하고 슬픈 목소리로 연기하면서 한수야, 엄마가 이제 더 이상 못 견디겠다. 너희 아버지 없이 혼자 사는 게 너무 힘들어. 어머니, 괜찮으세요? 저희가 바로 갈게요. 아니야, 그냥 엄마가 죽으면 너희들이 집도 받고 저축한 돈도 받을 텐데. 그런데 아버지 빚이 너무 많다더라. 2억 원이나 된다면서. 어머니, 그건 엄마가 그 빚을 다 갚아줄게. 대신 조건이 있어. 서은이랑 이혼해. 그리고 다시 착하게 살아. 한수가 망설이다가 말했어요. 어머니, 그럼 그 돈을 어떻게? 엄마가 내일 은행 가서 대출 받아서 현금으로 준비할게. 그런데 서은이한테는 비밀로 해. 너 혼자만 와. 다음 날 한수가 왔을 때 저는 미리 준비해둔 가짜 현금 뭉치 위에는 진짜 돈, 아래는 신문지를 보여줬어요. 그리고 몰래 녹음기를 켜뒀고요. 여기 2억 원 있어. 네가 아버지한테 빌린 돈 갚고 사채업체한테 빌린 돈도 갚아. 한수가 그 돈을 보고 눈물을 흘리기 시작했어요. 어머니, 정말 미안해요. 그런데 한 가지 궁금한 게 있어. 너희 아버지가 마지막에 뭐라고 했니? 어머니, 그건 말해봐. 엄마가 돈을 주는 조건이야. 한수가 떨리는 목소리로 말하기 시작했어요. 아버지께서 저희를 용서할 수 없다고, 경찰에 신고하시겠다고, 그래서 서은이가 무릎 꿇고 빌었어요. 마지막 기회만 달라고, 각서 쓰고 다 정리하겠다고. 그래서 아버지가 너무 화를 내시면서 가슴을 움켜쥐고 쓰러지셨어요. 저는 119를 부르려고 했어요. 정말이에요. 그럼 왜 안 불렀어? 서은이가 막았어요. 이미 늦었으니까. 괜히 문제만 커진다고. 그냥 사고로 처리하자고. 그럼 너도 동의했구나? 한수가 고개를 숙였어요. 저는 무서웠어요. 감옥 가는 게 무서웠어요. 이 모든 대화를 녹음기가 다 담았어요. 다음 단계는 서은이였어요. 서은이에게는 다른 방법을 써야 했어요. 저는 서은이한테 전화해서 카페에서 만나자고 했어요. 며느리랑 단둘이 이야기하고 싶은 게 있어. 카페에서 만났을 때 저는 서은이에게 큰 봉투를 하나 줬어요. 이게 뭐예요, 어머니? 너희 아버지 빚 갚을 돈이야. 3억 원. 네가 그 박성호한테 직접 가져다 줘. 서은이 눈이 번쩍했어요. 어떻게 저한테 이런 걸. 엄마가 다 안다. 네가 그 사람하고 무슨 사이인지도 알고 한수 이용해서 우리 돈 빼내려고 했던 것도 알아. 서은이가 당황했어요. 어머니, 그건 괜찮아. 엄마가 이해해. 젊은 여자가 무능한 남편 때문에 고생하는 거. 그런데 이제 그만해. 이 돈으로 모든 걸 정리하고 한수랑 이혼해서 네가 원하는 대로 살아. 서은이가 의심스럽다는 표정을 지었어요. 정말 괜찮으세요? 저를 용서해 주시는 거예요? 엄마가 이제 늙었어. 남은 시간도 얼마 없고 너희들 원망하면서 살고 싶지 않아. 대신 조건이 있어. 무슨 조건이요? 너희 아버지 마지막 날 무슨 일이 있었는지 정확히 말해줘. 엄마가 마음 정리할 수 있도록. 서은이가 잠시 생각하더니 말하기 시작했어요. 물론 제가 미리 몰래 녹음기를 켜뒀고요. 사실은 아버지가 저희를 불러내서 마지막 경고를 하셨어요. 경찰에 신고하시겠다고. 그래서 제가 각서를 준비해서 갔어요. 아버지가 서명만 해주시면 모든 걸 정리하고 한수와 이혼하겠다고 했어요. 그래서 아버지가 거절하시면서 너무 화를 내셨어요. 그때 갑자기 가슴을 움켜쥐고 쓰러지셨어요. 그럼 너희가 119를 불렀어야지. 서은이가 잠시 망설이더니 본색을 드러내기 시작했어요. 솔직히 말하면 저는 안 불렀어요. 아버지가 살아계시면 저희가 다 감옥 가는 거잖아요. 그리고 그리고 뭐, 어차피 나이도 많으시고 오래 살 것도 아니잖아요. 차라리 자연스럽게 돌아가신 게 다 좋은 거라고 생각했어요. 이 모든 말이 녹음기에 다 들어갔어요. 그 다음 주 저는 경찰서에 갔어요. 민 대표와 함께요. 그리고 모든 증거를 제출했어요. 탐정 보고서, 녹음 파일, 금고에서 나온 서류들. 경찰이 수사를 시작했고 결국 한수와 서은이 모두 구속되었어요. 한수는 사기와 유기치사, 서은이는 사기와 유기치사, 그리고 불륜 관계였던 박성호까지 모두 법의 심판을 받게 되었어요. 재판 과정에서 더 많은 진실들이 밝혀졌어요. 서은이가 실제로는 처음부터 박성호와 짜고 한수를 이용한 것, 남편의 심장약을 몰래 비타민으로 바꿔서 발작 위험을 높인 것까지. 한수는 징역 5년, 서은이는 징역 8년을 선고받았어요. 재판이 끝나고 저는 혼자 바닷가에 앉아 있었어요. 50년 동안 쌓아온 모든 게 사라졌어요. 남편도, 아들도, 재산도. 하지만 이상하게 후회는 되지 않았어요. 그 빨간 립스틱을 마지막으로 바라보면서 생각했어요. 남편이 마지막에 제게 남긴 메시지, 서은이를 믿지 말라는 그 메시지를 제대로 이해해서 정의를 실현했다는 것에 만족감을 느꼈어요. 지금 저는 작은 원룸에서 혼자 살고 있어요. 재산은 모두 변호사 비용과 법정 비용으로 나갔어요. 하지만 평온해요. 거짓 속에서 사는 것보다 진실 속에서 가난하게 사는 게 훨씬 낫더라고요. 가끔 한수가 면회 와달라고 편지를 보내는데 저는 가지 않아요. 그 아이는 더 이상 제 아들이 아니에요. 아버지를 죽음으로 내몬 공범이니까요. 여러분, 가족이라는 이름으로 어떤 일이든 용서해야 한다고 생각하시나요? 저는 이제 그렇게 생각하지 않아요. 진짜 가족은 서로를 속이지 않아요. 진짜 가족은 어려울 때 서로 도와주는 거지 이용하지 않는 거예요. 남편이 마지막에 제게 남긴 그 빨간 립스틱. 이제 저는 그걸 보물처럼 간직하고 있어요. 제가 올바른 선택을 했다는 증거니까요. 세상에는 가끔 선량한 사람들을 이용하려는 악한 사람들이 있어요. 그런 사람들은 아무리 가족이라 해도 용서해서는 안 되는 것 같아요. 사랑과 신뢰를 이용해서 남을 해치는 사람들. 지금의 저는 비록 가난하고 외롭지만 마음만큼은 평안해요. 남편도 하늘에서 저를 보고 미소 짓고 있을 거예요. 잘했다, 경자야. 정말 잘했다 라고. 그 빨간 립스틱이 제게 가르쳐준 교훈을 여러분들에게도 전해드리고 싶어요. 아무리 가까운 사이라도, 아무리 사랑하는 가족이라도 잘못된 일은 잘못된 거예요. 그리고 진실은 언젠가는 반드시 밝혀져요. 제 이야기가 여러분들께 조금이나마 도움이 되었으면 좋겠어요. 살면서 힘든 일이 있을 때, 정의로운 선택을 하는 게 쉽지 않을 때, 제 이야기를 기억해 주세요. 사랑하는 사람을 진짜로 사랑한다면 그 사람이 잘못된 길로 가지 않도록 막아야 해요. 비록 그 순간은 아프더라도요. 그게 진짜 사랑이라고 생각해요. 저는 김경자입니다. 74세 할머니지만 아직도 정의로운 일을 할 수 있는 힘이 있어요. 그리고 그 힘으로 제 남편의 억울함을 풀어드릴 수 있어서 정말 다행이에요. 여러분, 힘내세요. 진실은 언젠가 승리해요. 그리고 옳은 일을 하는 사람에게는 반드시 평안이 찾아와요. 비록 모든 걸 잃더라도 말이에요. 그 작은 빨간 립스틱 하나가 제 인생을 바꿨어요. 때로는 작은 것들이 큰 진실을 담고 있어요. 여러분들도 주변의 작은 신호들을 놓치지 마세요. 그리고 가장 중요한 건 사랑하는 사람이 힘들어할 때 곁에 있어주는 거예요. 이용하는 게 아니라 진심으로 도와주는 거요. 남편아, 당신이 마지막에 남겨준 메시지 덕분에 모든 진실을 밝힐 수 있었어요. 이제 당신도 편히 쉬세요. 나는 괜찮아요. 정말 괜찮아요. 여러분들의 가정에는 항상 사랑과 진실만 있기를 바라요. 그리고 혹시라도 어려운 일이 생기면 도망가지 마시고 용기 있게 맞서세요. 정의는 반드시 승리해요. 긴 이야기 들어주셔서 감사합니다. 이제 저는 새로운 인생을 시작하려고 해요. 비록 늦은 나이지만 아직 할 수 있는 일들이 많을 거예요. 특히 저처럼 어려운 상황에 있는 분들을 도와드리는 일을, 그게 제가 앞으로 살아갈 이유가 될 것 같아요. 여러분 모두 건강하고 행복하세요. 그리고 사랑하는 사람들을 진심으로 사랑하세요. 이용하지 마시고 속이지 마시고 진심으로요. 안녕히 계세요.